Welcome to the Trent Show. Happy Friday. I hope you are going to have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend and do take some time to remember the people who fought and died for our freedom, and that is ultimately when we work on things in the public policy space and in politics, we should always reflect on just whose shoulders we stand on as we do that. And I hope that will be a part of your Memorial Day festivities. We're going to round out the week by rounding up some of the health department scandal that we've been talking about. And you know, as I've been saying all week, they told us it was illegal but not criminal, and I simply do not believe that that's true. And I think that the law shows that that's not true. And I want to get right to that here as we finish the week strong here on the Trent English Show. This is what the multi-county grand jury report said. Just to make sure we're all on the same page here, they said the lack of a criminal statute covering the mismanagement, deception, and obfuscation by the Department of Health is lamentable. Boo-hoo. Except maybe it's not true. Fortunately, they say, no state dollars were spent in an unlawful way. Well, maybe that's true. They go on to say no federal or state dollars were embezzled or stolen by employees at the department, while financial mismanagement, fictitious fiscal reporting, and reckless overspending abounded at the department. No criminally prosecutable conduct provable by proof beyond a reasonable doubt was identified. Okay, here's what you have to understand. Multi-county grand jury, this is a grand jury of people assembled, but they operate basically under the guidance / control of the Oklahoma Attorney General's office, right? And so this is, you know, they did not, the multi-county grand jury, I suspect, did not actually write the dozens and dozens of pages here in the grand jury report, right? Somebody wrote that for them and they signed off on it, right? So I want to be totally upfront and clear about that as we get going here. Somebody told them, right? This is not a group of attorneys. Some attorneys told them, oh, you know what, we looked around in the statute books and we just don't think any of this is actually, I mean, it's illegal, but it's not criminal. We can't prosecute it. We certainly don't want to take anybody to court, because if we took somebody to court and they were the defendant, then they would mount a defense. I mean, follow me here, right? They would mount a defense, and part of their defense might be, well, you know, the governor told us to do this. Or OMES told us to do this, or the Attorney General's office told us we could do this, or they at least knew we were doing it and they didn't complain, so we thought it was okay. Do you follow me here, right? If someone was prosecuted, they would mount a defense, and they would have a right to call witnesses in their defense and to present evidence in their defense, and the defense very well would be that other people in Oklahoma's executive branch knew what was going on, maybe okayed it, maybe even encouraged it. We know that there's at least one Oklahoma Watch story that said that Governor Mary Fallin pushing some, you know, ideas that were outside of what was actually funded and possibly even legal for the Department of Health to do. Well, if it's not funded, it's not really legal for them to do it, is it? That is probably part of what led to what happened at the Oklahoma State Department of Health, right? There are ample reasons why one group of executive branch officials would not want anything to go to a criminal prosecution and a potential criminal trial. Do you follow me here, right? As an attorney, as soon as I read this, I thought, what is it they're afraid of? Oh yeah, they're afraid of people actually saying, oh, you know, we kind of like the governor to testify under oath about all this. Okay, I have a 3-count indictment. I want to present to you my 3-count indictment. From reading the multi-county grand jury report, I think it is absolutely clear that, that violations of criminal laws happen at the Oklahoma State Department of Health. In one case, if they didn't happen, that is because investigators, the people investigating what happened at the Department of Health, didn't do their job. Let's get right to it. Count one. Count one involves the Oklahoma Public Records Act, and the first thing we have to look at is the requirements under the Oklahoma Public Records Act that have to do with financial records, because they're very specific. Here's what it says. We can pop it up on the screen. In addition to other records which are kept or maintained, every public body and public official has a specific duty to keep and maintain complete records of the receipt and expenditure of any public funds reflecting all financial and business transactions relating thereto, except that such... Okay. So what do we have here? A specific duty to maintain records. The duty to maintain records implies, by the way, the duty to maintain accurate records. And it says all financial and business transactions, right? This is very specific. It's a specific duty created under the Oklahoma Public Records Act. And obviously, this was not being done. I mean, if they lost the ability to track their own slush funds at the Oklahoma State Department of Health, obviously they weren't doing this, okay? And so wait, so is this just, illegal but not criminal? Let's look at the second part here that I have for you of the Oklahoma Public Records Act, which is violations of the Oklahoma Public Records Act. Any public official who willfully violates any provision of the Oklahoma Open Records Act upon conviction shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. That's a crime, and shall be punished by a fine not exceeding $500 or by imprisonment in the county jail for a period not exceeding 1 year, or by both a fine and imprisonment. So there's count number one, Oklahoma Open Records Act. I mean, it seems pretty obvious that this law was being violated. I mean, and we've heard that. You can read it in the report, right? That while the financial numbers reported to the House and the Senate and the governor, they were all different, right? Well, look, willfully doing that. Now, if somebody makes a mistake, this is important to understand, right? If somebody in the bureaucracy makes a mistake, that's not a crime, right? And that may be illegal but not criminal. But if somebody willfully, intentionally lies about the finances in their agency and they cause those lies to be presented in the public record, that is a criminal violation of Oklahoma state law. That's the Public Records Act. Okay, that's count one. Count two, willful violation of law regulating official conduct. Here's what Oklahoma state law says. We can put it up on the screen for you. Every officer or other person mentioned in the last section, basically Oklahoma state officers, officials, who willfully disobeys any provision of law regulating his official conduct in cases other than those specified is guilty of a misdemeanor. This is pretty simple, right? If there's a law that regulates your conduct, whether it's the Open Meetings Act, the Open Records Act, whether it's all of the laws specific to the Oklahoma State Department of Health and the health laws in the state of Oklahoma, whether it's laws that have to do with federal grants, whether it's laws that have to do with anything going on at the Oklahoma State Department of Health, if an official willfully disobeys the provisions of those laws, that official is guilty of a misdemeanor, right? These are provisions created specifically for what happened at the Oklahoma State Department of Health. And I mean, the more I reflect on the grand jury report, the multi-county grand jury report here, I feel bad that they were apparently misled by attorneys because, there's a lot of hand-wringing here, and it would be legitimate hand-wringing, and I'm sure to some degree, right, I mean, it is legitimate. There probably should be more laws that regulate the conduct within government bureaucracies, fine. I'm not going to argue against that, but the idea that there are no laws that allow us to criminally prosecute people who lie, who intentionally lie and fabricate records, that just isn't true, right? Okay, that's count two. Count three, we're almost done here with my three-count indictment. Count three. Again, another pretty simple one. This has to do with internal investigations, false statements made during internal state agency investigations. It says, any person who knowingly makes or utters a materially false statement, either verbally or in writing, in the course of an internal state agency investigation shall, upon conviction, be guilty of a misdemeanor. Again, that's a crime, punishable by imprisonment, 1 year, $500, right? Okay, that's count three. Now, the one limitation on this is that the person has to be warned, sort of like your Miranda rights, right? In an internal agency investigation, for a person to be prosecuted or be convicted of this crime, they must have been warned that they were essentially testifying under oath and that if they lied, they would be criminally liable, right? And so, look, here is where we don't have all the information, all of the evidence, all of the transcripts, but if any of the officials at the health department lied when there was an investigation ongoing, or anybody at the health department intentionally lied about material facts once the investigation was underway, any of those people, all of those people, as long as the investigation was actually conducted the way it's supposed to be conducted and people were actually warned that they would be criminally liable for lying, as long as the investigators did their job, any lie in that process is prosecuted. It's a crime. It's a misdemeanor crime. Again, we have 3 counts in my indictment against officials at the Oklahoma State Department of Health. I mean, we don't have all of the evidence, but if we take the multi-county grand jury's report seriously, then at least 2 and probably all 3 of these different kinds of misdemeanors were committed by people involved in this scandal. And it is compounding the scandal to say that Oklahoma, oh, you know, gee whiz, we just don't have any laws that allow us to actually really punish people who commit serious fraud, mismanagement, operating slush funds, totally lawless behavior, right? Completely in violation of the most basic structure of government in the United States and in our state, the idea that the legislature makes the laws and writes the budgets and that executive branch agencies carry those laws out and operate within those budget constraints. That is one of the most basic precepts of our constitutional law. And the idea that we can't criminally prosecute people who egregiously and over a long period of time violate that basic constitutional framework is wrong. Thanks for watching the Trent English Show today, this week. Glad to have been with you again. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Remember, you can find us. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/OCPAthink, facebook.com/Trent England Show. You can follow me on Twitter at Trent England. We're on iTunes. You just search the Trent England Show, whether it's on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play now. As of the last couple of weeks, we're up on Google Play. So if you're an Android person, it's really easy to get it on your phone there, just like on iTunes. If you're an Apple person, the whole show archive is up at OCPAthink.org. You just go up on the top right-hand corner. It says Projects. Find the Trent England Show there, and you'll see the whole show archive. It's all there at OCPAthink.org. Thanks for watching.